Blog Talk Radio.
You know what time it is. Time to hang out with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop, the latest scoop. From Mr. Coop, from Mr. Coop, from Mr. Coop. Hang with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop, the latest scoop. From Mr. Coop, from Mr. Coop.
Welcome to the Big Scoop with Coop. I'm your host, Coop. Guys,
I'll let him know, okay?
Yeah, season 4 is still going on right now.
Okay.
Make sure you check out. Make sure you check out everything right now, guys. Season 4 is still going on, guys. Go to the website, thebigscoopwithcoop.com. Make sure you go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Big Scoop with Coop. Check me out on Twitter, twitter.com/MCOOP317, guys. So also make sure you tell everybody to tune in live right now on blogtalkradio.com/The Big Scoop with Coop. All right, guys, this is enough about me. Today's guest, wow. That's all I can say for this one is wow. He has done big things in the movie industry. He has actually he's been an actor, director, producer, writer. If you name it, he's done it in this industry. He has a movie that's coming out in November that's called Santa's Boot Camp. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Ken Feinberg. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much. Glad to be here. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. And yourself?
I'm doing great, thanks. Doing great.
Yeah.
Anytime you can complete a movie in this business is a big deal. And anytime you can get a movie distributed, it's even a bigger deal. So we're very thankful and very blessed that we have a movie that people are enjoying and they want to see, and it's going to be out in the world where everyone can enjoy it in just a few months.
Man, I can't wait for it myself, Ken. I know there's big things going on with that movie, and the way that you, like you said, you released this, you shot this movie is ready to go, and I congratulate you on that, because some people that's in the movie industry, they probably feel that, oh, it's a movie shot, but they don't understand how much work is done behind doing this. So you have done this, and I want to say once again, congratulations to your staff, your cast and crew, everyone. I can't wait to see Santa's Boot Camp, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. But Ken, also just want to let you know on this show, we always talk about how you started in your career, your success, give advice to get into this career, and much more. Now, Ken, when did you first realize that you was interested in becoming an actor?
Well, it's one of those funny things. When I was in preschool, we did a play in preschool, and I was late that day to preschool, and they gave me the role of the horse. And I was like, because I was the last one there, I got the last part. And I remember being the horse going, I can do better than this. I think a lot of actors start there. They go, I can do that, or I can do better than this. And so growing up, I was always active in the plays in elementary school and then again in high school. And then I went to college. I said, I'm going to be a doctor. And I started out pre-med, and I was taking calculus and chemistry and acting for non-majors just because I liked acting. And then somewhere in the middle of that, I go, you know what? I really like acting. I like film, and they had a film major at my college, and so I switched over to become a film major and started doing original productions and acting in the theater in college. And then after that, I got out of college like everybody else and got a job, and I was selling and I was acting in theater in the evenings, and people kept calling me, hey, will you come be in this? Should we come audition for this show? And I go, sure. I go audition. I get a lead role, and after a while, I was like, well, maybe let me try this out. And so, long story short, I went to New York, and then I went to L.A., and I was in rep theater, and I was studying in classes, and over a period of time, I developed my skills and just matured as a person and matured as an actor, and I did some work on some things like Star Trek and Buffy the Vampire Slayer and things like that, and now I'm producing and directing, and I'm teaching young actors, I'm teaching adult actors, and they're booking movies and they're booking TV shows, and so it's been a nice little cycle, because when I was young, I had all these questions about how to go to work in this business, and nobody could answer them. And I had to go on this long journey to figure that out.
Wow. Wow. Now, Ken, it shows, like you said, when you was late to preschool that day, and you was the horse. Now,
Right.
all the way up to right now, I mean, that's amazing because but no, before I even go there, Ken, I got to ask, what did you do as a horse in preschool? We got to know. What did you do?
Well, in the story, the main character rides his horse down the street. So like he's got his hands on my shoulders, and I'm kind of like walking in front of him, and he's like walking behind me, and it's just a play about, whatever mythical story we were doing. But they had to have a part for everybody in the class, and so I came in. Oh, you're going to play the horse. Like, oh, okay. I guess maybe that's why I grew so tall. And 16
nice.
hands.
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure, guys, if you have parents, if you're listening and you have a kid, a child, or children that's in preschool and they come home complaining because they have to play an animal, you let them know about this story. You see where Ken is at today, and he started off as a horse. You tell them. You tell them to play that animal real well.
I think anybody that succeeds in anything just has a drive to be better at what they do. It's just like, I'm not going to accept what this is because I know I can do better, I can be better, and I want to do better, and so I'm going to push and change and learn and grow and see where I can become. I think that just sort of planted a little seed there when I was like 3 years old. It was like, hey, I don't want people to remember me like this. I don't know. And something inside me said, this well, I guess it was kind of fun in a way, but in a kind of way, I wish I maybe had a different role. And maybe if I had a different role, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I might have said, oh, that was cool, then gone on to do something else, engineering or law or whatever. Who knows?
That's true. That's very true. Now, Ken, we're going to fast forward from you being a horse up to you getting into the industry itself. Now,
okay.
Now, did you have any mentors that helped guide you to where you are today?
Well, the first off the top of my head is my dad, because my dad was a professional actor here in Atlanta, and he just always was supportive of whatever I did, and he always, he told me, of all the directors I've ever worked with, you're the best one, and I want to believe him, because it's true, not because he's my dad, but he's always like, if I cast him in something, he's like, I wanted you to cast me because I'm the best one for the part, not because you're my son. I'm like, that's exactly right. And so my dad was a big influence on me, and actually he makes a cameo in Santa's Boot Camp, and he passed away like a month after we finished filming the movie, and so it's nice to see him in there. And then I had a mentor, and I had a couple mentors in L.A. One of them is a film producer. Her name's Suzanne Lyons, and she's a film producer. And I did a program with her, a couple programs with her back in the early 2000s about how to be professional, how to do your job, how to network, and all these things that no one ever that you have to learn from somebody, because otherwise you're not born with these skills. And she's been a mentor to me still to this day. Like if I have a question about a contract or an agreement or a situation, I can email her, I can call her, and she takes the time to talk to me. Another one of my mentors is Lloyd Schwartz, who worked on a TV show years ago called The Brady Bunch. His dad was Sherwood Schwartz, the producer. And one day I'm in L.A. and my mom calls me and she says, Ken, I want you to meet with Sherwood Schwartz. I'm like, Mom, how do you know Sherwood Schwartz? He's the producer of Gilligan's Island and Brady Bunch. Well, she named some friend of hers in Atlanta, went on a cruise, and they met Sherwood Schwartz on a cruise, and they were talking about me. And he said, yeah, have him give me a call. So I had lunch with Sherwood Schwartz, and he goes, I can't help you, but here's my son Lloyd. He produced the Brady Bunch. so Lloyd and I have been friends for a long time. Yeah.
Nice.
So you never know. You never know where you're going to meet somebody, and networking is huge. And when I teach young actors, one of the first things I say to them is you're always creating your reputation. So, you want to be nice. You want to be professional. I had some young kid call me today, wanted to pitch a script to me. I'm like, I admire you for calling me, but I have projects here. I can't take on somebody else's project, unless you come to me and say, I have, Adam Sandler in the script. I'm like, okay, well then we can, or, whatever it
right.
is, it's got to be a little something else because, everybody has a script, unfortunately. Everybody wants to be in the business, and it's one of those things that separate the wannabes from the real people is that the drive and ambition to really do it. Because one of my agents said to me 20 years ago, he said, Ken, somebody's got to carry the ball. And if you're not willing to carry the ball, who is? So that kind of said to me because so back from when I was, playing sports, it's like, if I'm not willing to run the ball, who else is going to run the ball? If that makes sense. I can't just say, hey, will you run the ball in for me? Yeah, will you take this and make it great and then give me all the rewards?
Exactly.
You got to work for it. You got to work for it. And some people work hard for it and some people don't. And some people want other people to do the work. But, you got to do the work. And, and with as much as I've done, as much as I've accomplished, I still have to audition on the higher levels. I still have to get people to want to work with me. I still have to say, hey, this is really good. Let's do this now. Let's, because there's always, you can always, I'm not the Steven Spielberg yet where I can just say, oh, I want to do this project. And then everybody lines up. I'll do it. Steven Spielberg can say, hey, I want to do, a snowman war movie, and then adventure. And then every student in town is going to be throwing money at him. Here, take my $100 million. Oh, take my $50 million, whatever it is.
Right.
So,
right.
Careers are made out of hard work. And so I'm thankful for mentors. And I tell my students, you have to find mentors. I'm a mentor to a lot of young people. But I also tell them you have to find mentors because, either you do it my way, which is you make a lot of mistakes because you think you know it all and you learn what's right and what's wrong, or you find someone to help you out and answer your questions and help you through it. And I find it's much easier when you can go to a mentor. And you don't want to take advantage of mentors. You want to be specific with mentors. You want to say, you don't want to just drain them of their energy and their time. So you have to be prepared for that. Say, this is my list of questions I want to ask you today, and keep it short, 10 minutes, and say this is what I need to know. This is what I'm up against right now. So I'm not wasting your time and energy. And then you go off and do your thing. Then you come back with another list of questions, another time. And so I think if you're respectful, those mentors will help you out, and I never had any relatives in the business or any friends in the business. I got lucky that one of my parents' friends met Sherwood Schwartz, but, it wasn't like he met Steven Spielberg, or Martin Scorsese, but, that's a joke. But yeah.
I knew where you were going with that.
Seek them out. You got to seek them out, and you can't be afraid, and you can't be afraid to ask, and you have to be okay with them saying no. So
that's so true.
Be respectful. You be respectful, and you make the request. Would love for you to be a mentor. 10 minutes. Let me ask you some questions. You want a free lunch? I'll buy you lunch if I can just pick your brain for an hour, whatever it is. And if they say no, then you got to be okay with that. You can't say that they're a jerk because they don't have time for you. They're busy people, but you got to be grateful and thankful if they do say yes. And so I've been very grateful and thankful for the mentors that I've had.
And that's so true, Ken. And everything you just said, I hope everyone that's listening worldwide right now take heed to what he just said. I mean, you have to step out there on a leap of faith. And if you're looking for a mentor to get you into this industry or help you out in this industry or just to learn about this industry, you have to ask. And everyone is not going to say yes. I mean, that's just real life. And you find one, you seek. If that one doesn't work, you go to the next one. Now, Ken, for the people that knows you already worldwide, you got some of your fans listening to you right now, and then people that's getting introduced to you for the first time. Can you let people know about Well, you started in the beginning of the show, but could you name some of the shows that you actually appeared on?
Yeah.
As an actor.
One of the most popular shows that I was on was a show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I played a character on that show called the Chaos Demon. And so my character had like a love affair with Spike, not with Spike, Spike's girlfriend Drusilla. And so that's kind of a fan favorite. You know, if you're a Buffy fan, you know exactly who the Chaos Demon is. And then I was on Star Trek, where I played an alien captain on Star Trek Enterprise, and I played a Kevme demon on a show called Charmed, and I was on things like Alias and the District cop shows. I played a lot of cops and stuff, bikers and demons and things like that. Unfortunately, I never got to play Puck in A Midsummer's Night Dream because I think I'm a little too tall for that. And I was up about 15 times to be a character on a show called Scrubs, which you may remember.
Yeah.
And they really liked me over there in that office, but I just wasn't quite Scrubs material. I mean, I'm 6'4" with a shaved head, and one of the things I learned in Hollywood is that you kind of fit into a little box, until you break out of it, And so for me, for a long time, I was the alien captain, I was the demon, I was, the biker, which is fine. I mean, I got like 4 residuals checks in my wallet that I got to go take to the bank, and
right.
So I mean, actors are working for residuals. Residuals are your lifeblood. So if you can act in a union job, it's much better than a non-union job, because every time that movie or TV show airs, they pay you for your work. And so here it is now, 10, 15 years after Buffy, and that show is still running on cable and on overseas and around the world, and so they still pay me for my work on the show, and all the actors on the show, which is really, really nice.
You can't beat that, Ken. You really can't, because even though you're getting paid for it, just the point of the show is still airing, that shows that you and the rest of the cast and crew had a special skill for this industry, because the shows still have big fan followers, and you can't beat that. That's something. Yes, everybody wants to get paid in this business, but here, I mean, that's something that you can put on your resume, something you can pat yourself on the back saying, "Look what I've done." You don't believe me? Turn on the television, turn on Netflix, turn on Hulu, go to the theaters. You can see my work as proof. And that's something that everybody wants to actually do. And I mean, and I commend you again for everything you've done, Ken. Everything.
And one thing that's really nice at this point in my career is I can point to things that my students have done. I had a student that was in 12 Years a Slave. I had a student that was in the Hunger Games movies. I have a student that just booked the new John Singleton series in L.A. I have a student in the new Clint Eastwood movie, Sully, with Tom Hanks. I have a student that is on I have 2 students who are series regulars on Nickelodeon right now. I've got a student that just did a pilot playing Helen Hunt's daughter. So I mean, the list goes on, but that's really cool, because I feel like in some small way I've contributed to their success.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm not gonna be in myself in any of those projects, because I'm too old for Nickelodeon. I'm not the right type for some of these other things. When my student books, it's a satisfying feeling that I helped them understand what their job was. Or I got a call yesterday. I coached a kid, actually Evander Holyfield's son, here in Atlanta. I coached him for an audition. He called me to tell me he booked the job. I'm like, yay! So those are the kinds of phone calls that I love to get. It's not every day. Not everybody books every audition, but when they do, it's like, good for you. You did the work, and that's what I really try to get them to focus on. It's not about the glamour or the glitz or being somebody. It's about doing the work. And if you've ever worked in this business, it's work. You have to put in the work. When I was on Buffy, I was there probably 12, 18 hours, in one day. We're there, we're working. It's not playtime. You got to show up, you got to be prepared, you got to do your job. And if you don't do your job, they don't ask you to come back. And if you do your job well, then they keep hiring you. So, and you got to put the work in. You can't wing it when you're doing this. You have to do the work.
That's true, Ken. And I think a lot of people in this business are just starting off. I think they feel that, oh, I have a certain look. I can just walk in and get special treatment. I can walk on set and just ad-lib everything, and it's going to work, and they're going to work around me. And people need to understand, in Hollywood and down in Atlanta, New York, anywhere, if you're in the movie industry, television, music, it doesn't matter. And I hate to take The Rock's line on this, but you have to know your role. Literally. You have to do what they say. If they want you to say this and look this way and do it to the precise T, you have to do it. And if you're good at it, you will get called back. Can't guarantee that, ladies and gentlemen, is listening, but you could.
There's no guarantees in anything, but
right.
I was just thinking about The Rock when you were talking, just before you mentioned him, because even if you have a certain look or a certain celebrity, if you're an Olympic gold medalist or you're a famous wrestler or you're just, a guy that is well known or whatever, or you're the son of a famous person or daughter of a famous person, and you get the door open to you and you get the chance to star in something, you have to back it up. You have to have the talent. You have to do the work. There was a story about Renee Zellweger that sometimes I tell my acting class, and I just think Renee Zellweger is an outstanding actor. She was in some teen ensemble movie years and years ago, and everybody in that movie was going to be the next big thing in Hollywood, the next big Brat Pack. And every night after they finished shooting, they would all go and have drinks and celebrate and talk about how great their careers are going and how big this movie's going to be. Except for Renee Zellweger, she would go get with her acting coach and prepare for the next day's shoot. And then you fast forward 10 years, Renee Zellweger's winning an Oscar, and all these other people in that movie, they're not in the business anymore. You have to do the work, and that's one of the big things that's one of the biggest drums I beat when I'm teaching other people, that you have to do the work.
So true. Now, talking about doing the work, Ken, I want you to tell everybody that's listening right now, tell them about Santa's Boot Camp.
Santa's Boot Camp is part of the training that I do for the actors that I teach. I produce original films for them to act in. And so if you've never been an actor on a set, you kind of don't know what you're doing until you know what you're doing. Like anything else, you don't know until you know. And so we were producing films so that they would come on the set and they would go through wardrobe, go through makeup, go through blocking, go through rehearsal, and then they have to shoot with the lights and the cameras and all the crew and everything there and know what their job is. And so one year, my editor and good friend of mine said to me, Ken, with all the stuff that we shot last year, all the short films, all the commercials, all the productions that we did, we could have made a feature film. And so we said, well, let's make a feature film this year. What kind of feature film could we make that would showcase our actors, give them the chance to be on set, and at the same time be appealing to more people than just in our film academy? And so we batted on a few ideas, and we came up with the idea of Santa Claus, because he's kind of a universal character. I like him because he's sort of a symbol for giving and unconditional love, which is something that we don't really see a whole lot of in movies these days. And so I kind of was attracted to that idea. And then I started looking around at the actors in the academy and said, well, what could we write with these actors in Santa Claus? And I saw some of the little ones. I said, oh my God, these guys would just be so great as elves, and they have so much personality. And one of the elves is the diva elf. She's the ringleader for all the elves that go on strike. And I look around at these teenagers, and they're kind of tough, and they're kind of sassy, and they're kind of like above it all. Okay, so I started getting the ideas of how we could put this together. So what we came up with was, kids these days are so bratty and so self-centered and so entitled that Santa's elves don't want to make toys for them anymore. It's like, why do we make toys for these brats? And so they go on strike just days before Christmas, and Santa Claus is like such a mess that he has to bring in these 6 naughty teenagers to his boot camp to help him get ready for Christmas. And, of course, I describe these teenagers kind of like the Breakfast Club in the fact that they're all very different and they don't know each other and they don't really like each other. They don't get along, but they have to learn to step outside of their own self and be helpful to other people and be respectful and mature a little bit because they're all being these self-centered teenagers, egotistical, like they are. And one of my favorite parts of the movie when they just keep trying to escape because that's the only thing they can think of they can do together as a team. They try to steal Santa's sleigh, and Santa gets upset and he sends them to go watch naughty nice videos where they have to go and watch videos of other kids doing things, and they have to vote whether they're naughty or nice, whether they deserve to have good things or not. And everything's all fun for them until they see videos of themselves doing not so nice things, and they have to vote themselves naughty. And so it's a big kind of a moment where, and my daughters watch the film, and they say that's their favorite part because it kind of makes it personal, that, okay, I can see where I've been like this person, or I can see where I've been not nice to somebody else. And I don't really think about it too much, but all of a sudden when it's up there for everybody to see, it's like, oh, yeah, I was that kind of person. I wasn't very nice to somebody else. And so when my 6-year-old said to me, Dad, I know what Santa's Boot Camp is about. I go, really? What's Santa's Boot Camp about? And she goes, it teaches kids to be nicer to each other. And I said, I'll take that. Yeah. Yeah. It's like if we could learn to be nicer to each other, if this film helped one person to be nicer or not bully somebody else or, do something helpful to somebody else, then great. Then it's worth it. And so that's kind of how we went about it. We wanted to tell a story that was unique, that hadn't been told, and so there's some twists and turns I don't want to give away, but I will say that not all the kids were satisfied with what they saw. And like one of the kids, everyone voted him naughty except himself. He thought he was doing the right thing, and then the movie sort of escalates from there into some really naughty behavior that they all have to kind of learn from. And so one of the things that's nice is that every teenager can identify with having one foot in childhood and one foot in adulthood, and you're trying to balance yourself out. You're trying to mature, trying to be an adult, but at the same time you still fall back into these behaviors that are not helpful to you or anybody else. And so through the process of going to Santa's Boot Camp, these teenagers sort of little by little as the story goes along sort of learn that that they can be true to themselves. They can stand up and be themselves, and they can be cooperative, and they can do things that help people other than themselves. And nice. So it's kind of nice in that way.
All right.
And you can feel good about that.
And you're right about that. And I think that's a nice family movie for everyone to watch, and they can get a moral lesson off of this. I don't care if you're a child or an adult. You can get a nice moral lesson off of it. Ken, what is the official release date of Santa's Boot Camp?
It'll be out on November 15th this year. So like in 3 months from now, November 15th, you can pick it up, at Target, Walmart. It'll be online. You can watch it. You can download it to your own computer on Hulu or Amazon or iTunes. You can watch it in your own home.
Nice. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, November the 15th, make sure you go get Santa's Boot Camp. I'm going to have my copy. Make sure you have yours. Enjoy this family movie. Sit down with your family. If you don't have kids, call your next door neighbors over. If they're nice and polite, get them to watch it with you also. Or just call your family and your friends and associates. Make sure you check out this movie because this is one that you do not want to miss. Now, Ken, is there any other...
Before you go, I want to say one thing about Santa's Boot Camp. One of the things that's really nice about this movie is that when it's over, it's not like everybody goes, oh, that was nice, and they get up and leave the room. It really can foster a conversation about what people experienced or what they learned or what they saw, whether you're a kid, whether you're an adult, whether you're a teenager. Grandparents can watch it with their grandkids. So that's one of the things I really like about this, is because when it's over, you can have a conversation about it, no matter how old you are or what maturity level you are, because there are certain things for everybody, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Nice. And like I said before, kids to adults, make sure you get this movie. Kids, if you're listening, tell mommy and daddy, grandma, uncle, aunt, cousin, whoever, to go get this movie November the 15th. Ken, are there any other projects that you're working on that you're able to talk about right now?
Well, we've got a sequel to Santa's Boot Camp that we would love to do, if we can. The Santa Claus, the actor that plays Santa Claus in the movie, is actually his name's Doug Kay. He performs the Atlanta Shakespeare Tavern here in Atlanta. He's a very Shakespearean actor, and he brings sort of a Shakespearean quality to Santa, which is nice. He's already said to me, if you wanted another one, count me in, which is great. And so we've got another one in development, and then we've got this musical that's of a Shakespeare show that we've got, which is really funny, that hopefully we'll be able to get off the ground here real soon. And we've got some more family films that we would like to do. So we're in the process of getting those things launched. And, of course, with the success of Santa's Boot Camp, I think we're able to get some more of those things rolling.
Nice. Very nice. Now, Ken, how can your fans or people that's just getting introduced to you right now, can they find you on social media?
Yes. We have a website called santasbootcamp.com or santasbootcampmovie.com. I'm on Facebook. My studio is called Creative Studios of Atlanta, creativestudiosofatlanta.com, or we're also on Facebook, Creative Studios of Atlanta. And so that's where we are right now. And we do have a Twitter, but I'm not a teenager, so I'm still learning how to tweet. So I'm sure I'll pick that up at some point. I'm sure I'll pick it up at some point.
Nice. Now, since you actually mentioned that, for the older and the younger, if you're in the movie industry, television industry, radio, whatever, how important is it to you for this era to actually be on social media?
Well,
for the business?
That's a double-edged sword, because there's good and bad in everything, and there's healthy and unhealthy uses of everything. And so I think it's designed to let a lot of people interact at once, which is nice, and it's a good way to inform people about social things that are going on, events that are going on. If you want to follow a certain actor or singer or something, it's easy to do. But it's very tricky, because it can be addicting, and it can take you out of reality into the virtual world where life is non-existent, only what's in your brain. And so there has to be a time where you step away from the virtual world and experience the real world, experience life, experience being with other people, and the joys that come with that. And so when I'm teaching actors, you cannot have your cell phone in the class. You have to be focused on what you're doing. When you're acting, you have to be completely focused on what you're doing. And we've had kids come into the class that had ADD, and they don't have it when they're acting, because they're completely focused on what they're doing, and they're enjoying what they're doing. And so in this era, I think a lot of social media can contribute to ADD, because you always got to be stimulated by what's next in the feed, what's next, what's going on, what's this person doing, and one of the other detriments is that you start feeling bad because your life isn't as good as what other people are posting, And
right.
so you can't get caught up in what other people are posting. What they're really posting is a moment in time, not reality of what their life is, just one moment in their time. And there's a place where I do some studying, and they have a little sign on the desk, is one day I hope my life is as good as it seems on Facebook. And I thought that was kind of funny. So there's a time and a place for everything. And so there's a business tool for social media. There's a personal aspect of social media, but you can't get caught up and make it your life. You've got to find other things to do with your life other than scroll through and see what everybody else is saying you have to think for yourself. You have to do for yourself. You have to experience life for yourself. And quite frankly, you can't experience anything, too exciting or too real on social media.
That's so true. So true. Everybody that's listening right now, make sure once again you go look for Ken on social media to keep up with him as far as it goes for Santa's Boot Camp in the future, the sequel to Santa's Boot Camp, and everything else he has going on. Whatever he releases, at least you can stay up to date. Go to the website. Make sure you go to santasbootcamp.com, santasbootcampmovie.com, right?
Yeah,
make sure you go.
Facebook page for Santa's Boot Camp, and if you friend me, if you want to friend me, make sure you send me a message and say I heard you here, with Michael Cooper on the Big Scoop, because I get a lot of these people that friend me. I'm like, who is that? But if you say I met you here or I heard you speak on this, then I kind of can know, okay, this is who that is, as opposed to some random person that I don't know if it's a real person, if it's a fake person, whatever it is. So, I want to make sure that the people that I'm connected to are actual real people that know who I am and not just randomly clicking friend.
Exactly. Now, Ken, what is your ultimate goal as an actor, writer, director? I mean, what has always been your ultimate goal, and what's your future plans to make to your ultimate goal? I want you to tell everybody, what is it? What is your ultimate goal in this business?
My ultimate goal in this business is to continue to make projects that affect people in a positive way. I think there's so many projects that get made and put out there that make people afraid, or they make people angry, or there's a lot of movies that are just rage, or you're on the edge of your seat in fear, and it's like those aren't the movies that I like or want to be part of. So I'm trying to make movies that people can see and they can discuss them afterwards, in an intellectual way, or they can learn something, or they can be inspired by it, and it affects people in a positive way, not just okay, I'm going to be entertained by seeing all these explosions, for an hour. And one of the things that really, when I learned this, it changed my whole way of thinking and being as a person. When you watch a movie, your unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a movie and the real thing. So if you watch a movie and someone gets murdered, your mind thinks you've actually witnessed a murder. And so I wanted to be more conscientious of things that I put into my brain, because when I go to sleep, those are the things that come up, things in my unconscious brain. And so I consciously stopped watching those kinds of movies, and I said, I don't want to make those kinds of movies, and I want to make kinds of things that are for the greater good, I guess you could say, but things that inspire people to be better, inspire people to be brave, inspire people to speak their truth, in such a way versus, being afraid of, some alien's going to get me, or some killer is waiting for me in the parking lot at night. Whatever fear that is, that, a lot of movies are made to instill fear in the viewer.
There you go. You're right. And that's what I'm saying. Like I told you before, Ken, you have a big career ahead of you. I'm not even going to say your career is done, because there's so much more that you can do in this business to help others and for yourself to show what you have done and what you can do. And I want you to continue, Ken, doing what you're doing now. I'm proud of you. The world is proud of you. We're all going to watch this movie, Santa's Boot Camp. Now, Ken, what advice would you give any male or female that wants to start a career in the movie industry at any position?
Well, I think you have to educate yourself. You always have to be a learner. You've got to be hungry to learn. You can't, when I work on sets, a lot of times I'll have students come on set, or just people that want to learn how to work on a set, and I can tell who's hungry to learn and who's not. I mean, there are people that's like, what can I do to help? I'm always here. Let me do something. And there are people that are kind of standing around going, they're just standing around waiting to be told, and I have crew people come to me and say, that kid such and such, yeah, I want his number because I want to take him on the next set with me. I directed a film in L.A. back in 2002, and the guy that was doing our graphic design said to me, hey, can my little brother come and PA for you on the film? I'm like, sure. This guy came, and he was always the first one at the set, and he was always the last one to leave. And he was always cleaning up or helping take care of this. He was just everywhere, helping and just happy as could be to be on set and doing whatever he could. And we ended up giving him like assistant production designer credit instead of PA, just because he was just helping all over the place. And then I heard, like, after he finished our film, he got hired to work on Ang Lee's Hulk movie. I was like, oh, good for him, because you have a reputation. People said, that kid, he works hard. He's sharp. She's sharp. She's good. She knows what she wants. And, she's asking the right questions. She's doing the right things. And, I tell my students, it is a career. You can make what you want of it. My acting teacher years ago in LA said something, and it took me a long time to figure it out. And now it's too late. And I'll tell you now, so maybe some young people listening can figure this out. He always said, the world is your oyster. And that always kind of went above my head, going, what in the world does he mean by that? And finally, after contemplating that for many, many years, it's like, you can be and do whatever you want to do. The world is there for you to create the treasure that you want. All you've got to do is get up and go work toward it. You've got to be professional. You've got to be knowledgeable. You've got to be kind. You've got to be grateful and thankful, and you have to do the work. So whatever you want to do, it can be done. And I tell my students in my acting class, I say, well, if you want to be an actor, you can do it. Because there was a little girl sitting in this chair just a few years ago, and she was in 2 of the Hunger Games movies. But there was a little girl sitting in this chair just like you, and now she's a series regular on Nickelodeon. Or there's a girl like you, she was, she won a SAG award for whatever. What's the difference between them and you? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. They were sitting in this seat, eager and hungry to learn, just like you are now, and they took what they learned and they turned it into something. They had an opportunity, and they presented what they knew in a professional way, and they did the work, and people noticed and said, I want to work with you. I want to work with you. And so whether, and there's a, if you're female, if you're female, I mean, they want and need more female voices in the movies. That's a given. I mean, you hear that everywhere. There's vast majority of projects are written by men, they're produced by men, they're directed by men, and there's this huge void of women's stories. And so women, if you're listening, know that you need to get on it, because they want to hear, the world wants to hear your point of view. And so, it makes it tougher when you're a guy, because you're trying to get a story out there, and they go, no, we want to really focus on this. But you know what? Good stories always rise to the top. And, if there's something you want to do, don't let an excuse like your sex or your skin color or your height or your age or your weight or hairstyle or whatever it is stand in the way of you going for what you want to do. Because at the end of the day, it is an all-inclusive business. You walk onto a film set, no matter if you're an actor or if you're a crew or producer, you look around, and really it's full of people who love this business. It doesn't matter what age they are or where they come from or what their background is. They all share the one thing, and that is the love of what they do. As well as and I will say this: there is a young lady, Star, who when we started doing Santa's Boot Camp, she was just a local kid here in town who wanted to help out, and she came to help me, and she was there by my side, just helping me at the very beginning, and she helped bring in some other people who became flaky, but she stayed and she helped, and then we had to go raise more money to shoot more stuff. And when we got ready to shoot again, she came back and she helped. And then she was there like through the whole process. And then she's like, I want to go apply to, I can't remember if it was AFI or USC out in California, film school.
Okay.
And she asked me if I would write a letter of recommendation for her. And I wrote a letter of recommendation. I really said how, and she got in. And today on Facebook, she posted that she started working at Paramount on some big thing. I don't know if it was the Avengers or whatever. Something.
Nice.
She was somewhere. She's working on a studio on a project in LA. And this is just a kid who wanted to do this, and she worked hard to get there. And she never said no, never gave up.
Nice. Everybody that's listening right now, I hope you heard this, because that shows hard work and dedication can get you to where you want to get to in life. Ken, I know you're a busy person. I want to say thank you. Thank you 1,000 times for coming on the show. And I would love to have you back on the show in the future.
We'd love to be a part of this, Michael. I think you have a great show, and I appreciate you having me on. And keep up the good work.
I sure will. Thank you very much, everybody. Once again, Santa's Boot Camp, November the 15th. Make sure you go get this movie. This is a movie that you want to keep in your collection. Everybody, once again, thank you for coming on the show. Everybody, make sure you find Ken on social media. Make sure you follow him. Big things are happening for him. All right, guys, you everybody have a great night. Until next time on the Big Scoop with Coop.